The St. Louis Blues extended defenseman Logan Mailloux. And was this the right move that the Blues made, or does this actually make sense with the path the Blues are going on? Let's talk about it.
Hey, this is Brayden Chen. Subscribe to Locked On Blues.
You're Locked On Blues, your daily podcast on the St. Louis Blues. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome back to Locked On Blues. I'm your host, Haley Taylor Simon, talking to you about the team that just extended Logan Mailloux. We have a lot to talk about today. The Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And let's just get the ball rolling. The Blues, during the game, extended defenseman Logan Mailloux. I also kind of want to talk to you about who is to really blame for the downfall of the Blues this season, because I have an answer that you may not like. And are the Blues purposely trying to tank? I know that's a word that I do not like. However, I still feel like that's kind of the trajectory that the Blues are going in. And I do want to let you know that to hit that subscribe button down below, it is free to do. So make sure to do that if you're on YouTube. If you're listening, make sure to give Locked On Blues a follow. So it just was announced less than an hour ago. I was going to do my episode after the game, but less than an hour ago, the St. Louis Blues made the announcement that they have signed Logan Mailloux to a 1-year, one-way contract extension worth $8,500. This is very close to league minimum. This is a move that I disagree with, and I'm going to tell you why I disagree with this. He hasn't been playing good hockey this season. He hasn't. Let's say it for how it is. He has been an issue. I get it. You know, he's only 22 years old, and he was a former first-round pick that the Blues just traded for. It was kind of written in stone that he would get an extension, right? Or was it? And the reason why I say that is I understand that the Blues made a trade trading Zach Bolduc to the Canadiens in exchange for Logan Mailloux, but if he isn't playing the way that you expected him to play, sometimes you just have to eat it and don't even extend it. Don't give it another go-ahead. Because what you're telling me is that you still believe that this young man can turn things around, but the truth is we saw how he was all season. And when I was watching the game, I mean, yes, he was playing good. I'm not going to deny that. But honestly, and it's kind of funny, but in a way too, I think with the price that the Blues paid him, obviously it's also saying something too, that they don't think he is worth maybe that much. But I do think at the end of the day, this is like a decision that I did not agree with to begin with in trading for Logan Mailloux. Okay. And on top of that, he doesn't prove to you why you should extend him. So then what do? You extend him. And it's so infuriating to me because while that's not a lot of money compared to other contracts that we have, you could still use that money and try to acquire a really good defenseman or a really good up-and-coming prospect that you can ensure at least will do a better job than Logan Mailloux has. I mean, this is the same player that we had to send. Well, not me. Luckily, I'm not a part of the coaching staff. But the Blues had to send down to Springfield. Or, like, this is what I'm saying. Why are the Blues extending him? And mostly, why are some of you agreeing with this decision? I was on Instagram and I saw the post. That's how I found out about it. I'm watching the game. I go on IG. I saw the post. Then I check my email and I see that I get an email from the Blues PR staff saying to me, hey, we extended Logan Mailloux. Here's the full press release, okay? I commented on this post LOL, why? Because I was infuriated. And then somebody said to me, he's an RFA. Be so for real. And then somebody else said to me, playing pretty good tonight. Does tonight justify how he's been all season? Does tonight justify the fact that he's been benched, that he's been sent down? Like, does it justify any of that? Does it justify his lack of ability to defend? Does it justify that he's a little bit sometimes slow to get back into the defensive zone and lets a nice wide open space of ice for the other team to end up scoring? Because that does happen. And the answer is yes. I am fired up about this because out of all players to extend, you extend Logan Mailloux. And I get the money isn't that bad. I do. My frustration comes from principle. It comes from hard work should be rewarded. And, you know, I'm not doubting that he isn't working hard. I'm not. I'm sure he is. But some guys are just not meant for the NHL. You're on one of the worst teams in the NHL this season, and you still have managed to be a pretty inconsistent player, and that is saying something. Now, as a Blues fan, do I hope he turns things around? Absolutely. I would love, and let me emphasize this, I would love for Logan to turn it around. You know why? Because I love the Blues and I want to see them succeed. But at the end of the day, do I think he is going to? No. I don't want to lie and say that he will, but this was a bad trade to begin with. It's a bad season. And then, oh, by the way, on top of that, let's extend him. And this just makes my blood boil. Because you know who is not extended yet? Dylan Holloway. Philip Broberg is now extended. Still waiting for Holloway. I am just so sick of these bad decisions. I really have to say, and I know I'm kind of ranting, I'm angry, I'm fired up right now, but I just want, for once, it's been years since we've had a really strong defense. I want a good defensive core, and I don't think we're going to get that anytime soon based off of how things are going. I love Dvorsky, and I'm excited for Dvorsky. I'm excited. I meant to say for Yurchek, and I thought of Dvorsky, Adam Yurchek. Hey, he's not a Blues fan. Yes, I am. Listen, it's a lot of E's and checks, but I am excited for Adam Yurchek. He is going to be a star. He is. I am telling you that now. But it doesn't take one player to change the defensive core. It takes multiple players. So you're telling me with a 6-year extension that Philip Broberg is essentially who you're kind of building the defense around, because it's not going to be Colton Parayko for much longer. It's not going to be Justin Falk, as he might get dealt at the deadline. It's not going to be Cam Fowler, and it certainly will not be Logan Mailloux. I would be very surprised if in 6 years from now, Logan is still on the team. So you have to acquire other talents that can step up. And I know I'm sounding bitter. I'm sounding angry. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I understand that they're kind of doubling down because this is a player that they did trade for, and this is somebody that they expect a lot from, and I do understand that. But I also understand how this season has been going, and with how this season's been going, in my humble opinion, I think sometimes you should just eat it, say, you know what, the trade didn't work out, and move on to the next. But doing this just proves to me that next season might be rough too, and I hate thinking about that as we are not even done this season. We just hit the halfway point. Coming up, I am going to talk to you about who is to blame for this season. The wild card round is here, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game day during NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action because right now, NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll be able to see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts, and you can apply them to the bets you like the most. Personally, for me, I think that this profit boost pack just spices things up and it makes the game even more exciting. So you make your picks, then you apply them to your profit boost to go after even a bigger payout while the playoffs get rolling. So visit FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Hey friends, I want to let you know about something really cool that the Locked On Network is doing. It is called the Everydayer Club. You get access to ad-free audio for your Locked On Blues podcast, or hey, even Locked On Cardinals that JD does. This is for every single podcast. You also get invited to an exclusive Everydayer Discord server, which it's not just the Blues. It is every single team. So there's going to be a link down below. It is only $5. That is a steal. And if you want access to a community of people who love sports, and on top of that, you don't want to listen to any ads, well, you already know what to do. Again, this is the Everydayer Club, and personally, I love it. Who is to blame for this season? Well, I'm going to be honest with you. You may not like this answer. You may think I'm crazy. You might think I'm ungrateful. I'm a hater. I get it. Is it bad if I say Doug Armstrong? Is it bad if I say our general manager, who is going to be done being our GM after 15 seasons in most likely April or May, depending on when the season ends? I think April or May. But I think it's Doug. I get it. He has the Olympics. I am excited about the Olympics too. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like there's been some issues that have gone on this offseason. And yes, that does include the trade for Logan Mailloux, getting rid of Zachary Balduke, who would have a lot more trade value right now. And on top of that, I think that he isn't doing enough. I think you could have somehow, some way, made even more trades and acquired some better young talent. I hate to say that it's all Doug Armstrong, because obviously this falls on the players. This falls on Coach Montgomery. I mean, there's a lot of people that you could theoretically blame. I mean, you know my rant and how I feel about the defensive pairs, about how I feel like they should try to split them up and move it around and see if anything else works. Any other combination I would be fine with. But let me regress. I think that Doug Armstrong selecting Jordan Binnington, I know all of Team Canada's management was unanimous and they agreed about selecting him. I think selecting him as your starting goalie with how this season has went is a mistake. I think it's a mistake because while playing for your country, it's so important. And I am all for the Olympics. I am Team USA, fired up, let's go. But I think with how he's been this season, you're going to put him in a situation where the whole world is going to be watching him, not just us here in St. Louis, but all over the world. And if he doesn't perform well, his value, it's going to go down. And I know that's something that a lot of us maybe don't want to think about. a potential trade, getting rid of Jordan Binnington. But I mean, he is number 18 on the list at The Athletic to being traded. And I'm going to do a Becky Lynch WWE reference. It's not just me saying it. Everybody says it. And it's true. So I think that you need to understand that this is a really crucial time to highlight the players that you might potentially move because everybody is watching. Everybody is talking. There was those rumors about potentially Robert Thomas being traded and that Doug Armstrong has opened a conversation. And other teams have inquired about Robert Thomas. And if Doug Armstrong trades away Robert Thomas, then everything that I thought about how the Blues were going to be in years to come, it's all a lie. It's all a lie because that is the guy that you were supposed to build around. And I can't help. And I know that this might be like half joking, half not joking, and take this with a grain of salt. I can't help but feel utter disappointment for Ryan Suter. I know, a name that you didn't think I was going to bring up again. Well, guess what? I did. Because he played hard. He played so hard. And for Doug to make a decision to extend Logan Mailloux, but not sign Ryan Suter. I know Suits is older, but that's not the point. He played hard, and he was one of the best defensemen that we had, is a slap in the face. Because at the end of the day, Suter could have been a really good mentor. He could have been somebody that amped up the defensive core even more. I just feel like the defense is the biggest issue and not enough has been done. And instead of looking for other talents, you extend Logan Mailloux. The Philip Broberg extension, I'm fine with, honestly. I thought that was a good extension. And he's had to step up too, playing in the first pair, which is something that none of us thought he would be doing, at least for now. So my frustration comes from the lack of moves. I mean, I get it too. You are limited sometimes with money and the cap, and I get that, and I'm sympathetic. I am, because I would hate to do that as a job, honestly. But I just feel like this team, it's not in a good position. The foundation, it's not there. Everything about the Blues right now is a mess, and it starts at the top. And for Doug, while I get it, Team Canada, the Olympics is a priority, a part of me still feels like he should be making more of a cognitive effort to have more say in what's going on. And I believe he does. I'm not saying that he doesn't do anything. That's not where I'm coming from. But I mean, man, if Doug said to Monty, hey, let's change up the pairs, like, I just need him to leave this team in a somewhat better position with Steen. Because imagine Steiner coming in and having to deal with what's been going on this season, because that very well might happen next season too. It's not good. Like, that's the thing that I am trying to emphasize here. It's not a good situation for the Blues with their recent moves, the recent season. And I cannot believe that this team was able to go to the playoffs last year. And most of the same guys are still on this team and not looking like that this year. So I have somewhat of an observation statement feeling. Are the St. Louis Blues trying to tank for seasons to come? I know. Trust me, I know. And we're going to talk about that right after this. New year, new systems. This is the time when a lot of us look at the messier parts of how we run our businesses and think there has to be a better way. And there is. Streamlining your communications is one of the quickest upgrades you can make. And that's why today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Quo, the smarter way to run your business communications. Because when your team is reachable, organized, and communicating in one place, you're not just working cleaner, you're creating more opportunities to connect with customers. Your whole team can call and text from one shared business number, so nothing gets missed. It's no surprise Quo is the number one rated business phone system on G2, trusted by more than 90,000 businesses, from solo entrepreneurs and to growing teams. Make this year the year where no opportunity and no customer swipes away. Try Quo for free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/lockedonnhl. That's quo.com/lockedonnhl. Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. So, with how the Blues have been playing, and with the extension that kind of sent me into this whole train of thought in this past hour of Logan Mailloux, it got me thinking, is this team purposefully trying to tank? And maybe not for this season, but maybe next season too. Maybe they like some of the prospects that they see, tank for McKenna. And I said that as a joke, and I don't think it's a joke anymore. I genuinely think this team is trying to tank. Because if this team was trying to win, they wouldn't be extending a guy like a Logan Mailloux. They would be trying to trade him away. They would be trying to make some moves that could potentially lead them to be more successful. What this is showing me is a team that kind of gave up. It shows me that they're not being aggressive enough. And that is my opinion. And I can tell you why. One, they played mostly bad hockey all season so far, and it's a little bit past the midway point. So I don't think that this group of guys is working out. I think maybe individually some of them could go on to be really successful, but I think with this group of guys, change has to be made. And a lot of the blame does go on Jordan Binnington, but in his defense, what I will say is if you watch the minutes or the seconds even leading up to the goals that the other teams score, please look for the lack of defense, because there's none. It's just Jordan Binnington. It's like he's in a shootout all game. And the same goes for Joel Hofer. I mean, these are two goalies that have been left kind of alone in their own little, I'm a goalie / I'm a defenseman / why am I the only one that's putting effort into this back of half of the ice? And I know that sometimes I come across as harsh and I come across as angry and annoyed, but wouldn't you, if you were in charge of this team, be even more ticked off? No one's going to go to these games when it gets later in the season. And we have the best fans, and I will always defend our fans, but why would you spend your hard-earned money, because it's expensive, and it's not just me, it's everyone who says it, it's always expensive to go to the games when you know the product that you're going to get on ice is something that you could just see in Springfield? And am I wrong for that? No, I'm not. But at least in Springfield, those guys put in a lot more effort. I can promise you that. So I don't think that this is a team that's going to try to push for the playoffs. I don't. There was a little part of me that hoped that they would, especially with how last year ended. I hope that there was maybe a little bit more vengeance, a little bit more enthusiasm. I hoped for that, but I did not see that. No, I did not. I saw that from actually players like Oscar Sundqvist and Nathan Walker, Alexei Torchenko. I saw it from them, and Alexei's extension I'm fine with. But it's some of the other players like Bushi. I don't see it from him. I don't see that same fire. Robert Thomas, where's that fire? Where is the fire? Shen, I see the fire. But if the whole team doesn't have the fire, then why would I believe that this is going to be a team that's going to do anything other than tank? And it sucks. It sucks. The reality of it sucks. You know, we have a history in our franchise of being first round exits. And that's all I feel like I've known, honestly. And they were so close last season. And I thought, you know what? This season, they're going to play some tough bleeping hockey. They're going to be fired up. Monty's going to have them this whole off season, this whole training camp. I felt good. And I quickly got deflated right away because the reality, it sunk in. This is a team, frankly, isn't playing for anything. At least play for the blue note. And that's where guys like a Braden Shen, where I see the effort that he puts in, or the fourth line and some other guys, and I see that effort, Broberg even, they're playing for the blue note, man. They're playing for all of you. You know, when I spoke to the players this season, I asked about the fans, and this is going to be something I do this off season, but they all love the fans, and Shen especially. And this is why I'm frustrated, because people always say, why is he the captain? He's not, the best player statistically, but he cares, man. He cares so much about the franchise, about the work that he puts on the ice. He cares about how the team does. He's such a team guy. And I wish that every other player had the same drive that Shen had, or the fourth line has. I could come on here and go over every single player and tell you the pros and cons. But for me right now, if you're not going to make it to the playoffs and you're going to be a team that tanks, at least play with some heart. That's all I am asking for. And Braden Shen, our captain, he does just that. So tomorrow's episode, I hope to be a little bit more positive and not as fired up as I am right now. I mean, the Blues are up right now 3-0 against the Carolina Hurricanes. And I'm excited, actually, because I'm going to watch the remainder of the game when I am done doing this. I had to come on here and do my, my breaking news, my podcast, because I was really amped up about Logan Mailloux. And as I was sitting there scrolling, I couldn't. I had to come on, and I hope you understand. But that means that we're going to have a lot of good things to talk about when it comes to the Blues. Joel Hofer is in net tonight. So as I did suspect, when Binnington loses, Hofer goes in. But I have to say, and this is why the young guys excite me, and I will get into this tomorrow, but notice a pattern. Jimmy Snuggerud scores, Dvorsky scores, and then Nick Bukestad, he's back, by the way. But Otto Stenberg kind of drove that in. So I want to talk to you about why these younger players are doing a lot more than some of the guys that we pay the big money to. Because trust me, it doesn't go unnoticed. Again, my friends, make sure to sign up for that Everydayer Club down below. It's going to be linked, only $5, no ads, and a community of sports fans who all have one thing in common with you, and that is the Locked On Podcast Network. I will talk to you tomorrow, and like always, let's go Blues.